Noswaith da pawb, good evening everyone. My name is Councillor Mike Priestley and I'm the chair of the Economi Place Overview Scrutiny Committee. Can I welcome everyone to the meeting, which is a multi-locational meeting. The meeting will be live streamed and recorded and will be available for viewing after the meeting. Should the live streaming fail, the meeting will continue and a recording will be available through the council's website following the conclusion of this meeting. Can I remind members that translation facilities are available and for those attending on Zoom to choose your language of choice. For those wishing to speak in the chamber, please raise your hand. For those on Zoom, please use the raise hand function. We will alternate between speakers in the chamber and on Zoom. For those attending remotely, please note that the chamber will be unable to use the chat facility. Committee members who are attending remotely are required to leave their camera on throughout the debate and when voting in order to maintain the integrity of the decision-making process. If you need to leave the meeting temporarily, please pop a message in the chat function so the Democratic Service Officer is aware and then let us know when you return. I expect everyone present and participating in this meeting to conduct themselves appropriately and be respectful to each other, and that applies to members, officers, and anyone in the public gallery. So I'll come now to the proper agenda, and item 1 on the proper agenda is appointment of vice chair. Any nominations? Councillor Chris Hughes. And can I have a seconder for that, please? Councillor Keith Eales. Any other nominations? Okay, no other nominations then. Can I ask you? Sorry?
We didn't hear who was nominated.
Councillor Caffi Augustine was nominated for vice chair. That was proposed by Councillor Chris Hughes. And it was seconded by Councillor Keith Eales. Is that okay, Councillor Sam? Yeah. So there were no other nominations. So if I could go to the vote of those in favour of Councillor Caffi. Okay. You take a note then. Anybody against the nomination? None. And any abstentions? None. Okay. So can I just take this opportunity to say congratulations, Councillor Caffi. I look forward to working with you and I'm sure things will go well. I was going to hand over the meeting to you now, but I won't do that. I won't put you on the spot. So congratulations, Councillor Caffi. If you'd like to come back.
Yes, thank you so much, everyone. Really look forward to working in a slightly different capacity on this committee. Apologies for not being there in person. I'm at the tail end, hopefully, of a horrible bout of COVID, so I didn't want to come into the chamber. But thank you all for your support.
Thank you very much, Caffi, and a speedy recovery. So item 2, I'm looking for apologies for absence.
Just 2 apologies, Councillors Mandy Hawkins and Gail Jones.
Okay. Item 3, declarations of interest, code of local government conduct. Can I remind members that they must declare the nature of their declaration, the personal interest. So any declarations? Can't see any. Sorry, yeah, got some.
Yeah, I just declare I'm a dog owner, but I don't frequent the beach. So I don't propose to withdraw from the discussions on that basis.
Okay. Keith.
Thank you, Chair. Just wondering whether I need to declare an interest because I am a dog owner and I frequent the beach as well.
Yeah. I'll bring in Matt, our legal officer, because I've had this conversation as well, because I was on Roe-on-Sea beach the other day with Honey the dog and had a few looks at me. So I've asked about that as well. So I am a dog owner as well, but I'm sure Matt will clear this up for us.
Yeah, Chair, it's not likely that this gives rise to an interest under the code, because essentially in terms of the area itself, it's not likely of itself that being a dog owner would impact the well-being of that particular person any more than all the other residents, or at least a majority of the other residents of the area. And that's, I suppose, whether or not you are a dog owner, because there would be impacts potentially arising from the debate of this matter either way. So there would need to be a particular reason why an interest arises, because the impact upon the person would be greater for some reason than anybody else within the area.
Is it worth just noting dog owner? No need. So there's no need to.
I don't think there's any need, Chair, for every dog owner to declare an interest in the matter.
I think there'd be a few in the public gallery. Joe.
Thanks. For transparency, I own a dog walking business, but I don't use the beach for my business because I find the parking spaces for getting multiple dogs out just too small. So I just like to declare a personal interest because I do take my own 2 dogs down there.
Yeah, we can note that. Thank you very much. Okay. So the next item there is item 4, which is urgent matters.
There are no urgent matters.
No urgent matters. Okay. Item 5, questions to cabinet members.
No questions, Chair.
This is going well. Now then, so item 6 is to consider a report by the Head of Regulatory and Housing Services on the following matter, and that is 6.1, which is proposed dog control public space protection order, PSPO 2023, and you can find the information in the pack on pages 3 to 154. Am I taking the public speaker, or am I going to introduce first? Okay, so we do have a member of the public who wishes to speak on this issue as an objector, and could I invite Mr. Aaron Haggis down to speak? Mr. Haggis will have 3 minutes as per protocol to speak, and you'll be reminded, Aaron, with about 30 seconds to go, we'll remind you. So just get yourself comfortable, and when you're ready to go, we'll set the clock.
Okay.
Whenever you can.
Okay. All we want is a fair, reasonable and kind compromise, a shared space with some seasonal restrictions like we've always enjoyed. Our beach is our community and a safe space for everyone. It's inclusive, friendly and welcoming. To put things into perspective, 36% of Welsh households own a dog, and we must not discriminate against this number of the population. Welsh Gov guidance for dog welfare state dogs need to run, be social and are protected from suffering. Access to the beach off a lead would satisfy these requirements. Not allowing dogs to run and play on the beach is subjecting dogs to mental and emotional suffering and is cruel. When making a decision, we must ensure well-being, support our dog-friendly economy and promote equality, and be consistent with the council wellbeing plan. A balanced seasonal compromise would achieve this and would support the Conway Net Zero programme, as we would not have to drive. We've had dry beaches for generations but have not banned dogs. Beaches including Morfa Conway. Dog fouling is such a low concern that no environmental enforcement officers are employed. It is hoped that cost saving is not a motive for any ban. In 5 years, dog fouling complaints have fallen by almost 300%. It is likely that no complaints were received for our beach, as only county figures were provided. Also, as only 2 fines were issued last year, this suggests a number of complaints were invalid and the majority of complaints related to those issued the 2 fines. Over 5 years, North Wales Police recorded just 1 dog-related complaint on our beach, which involved 2 dogs engaging with each other. This evidence of dogs does not present a persistent problem. However, dispersal orders have been in place to deal with ASB by people. Over 10 years, almost 8,000 fines have been issued for littering. A PSPO is to manage ASB, yet we have little evidence that we have a persistent dog problem. Litter and people are a valid ASB issue, especially with barbecues and nappies, as they pollute the environment. Even our mayor collects litter. Keep Wales Tidy report that dog poo concerns fall year on year and are less of a problem than food packaging. UK Health reported only 2 cases of toxocrasis for England and Wales last year. It can be transferred by other animals, and it's extremely rare that it affects eyes because dogs are wormed. Of 6,000 names on a petition, 30% of people visited the area to walk the dogs on our beach. That could be a 30% drop in revenue for local businesses. ERF cited dog poo as being a problem to clean, yet they don't clean the beach. Walking a dog on the beach is good for your health and reduces loneliness. Mental health and loneliness are a big focus for Welsh Gov. The beach is safer than rural areas and there's less chance of being attacked. Dog walkers keep our beach safe during quiet times. We believe the council respect the fact that it governs with consent, and we want to work with the council and hope that they understand that the evidence supports no ban. A fair compromise will be option 5, and restrictions to only apply between 9 AM and 6 PM. No lead restrictions, fines only for dog poo, not for breaching a restriction, and eye-level signs at every beach access point with dog control guidance. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Okay, so Mr. Haggis, I'd just like to say thank you very much for coming here to express your concerns, views. I'm going to hand over to the leader of the council, Councillor Charlie McCoubrey, who's going to introduce the report, and then we'll hand over to officers to go through the report, and then I will open up the debate. Okay, Councillor Charlie.
Diolch, Cadeirydd, thank you.
No, this one's not coming. Yeah, not going on. What, this one?
Mike's got his on.
It's your fault, Mike. Yeah, sorry, Chair. So Councillor Jeff, who's got the portfolio, is poorly. He's also suffering quite badly with COVID. So we obviously wish him a speedy recovery. So the report's there for members' consideration. We have to go out every 3 years to carry out this procedure, which involves a consultation. Last time this happened was the 12th of October 2020. I was the portfolio holder. It was nowhere near as controversial as the response we've had this time round. However, there was one bone of contention in Kimnall Bay, which I think is worth sharing with members. There was a seasonal exclusion on the beach in Kimnall Bay. A request was made from the town council and local county members that would be removed. There was around 34% support for that. It wasn't supported by the local Senate member because there were some issues around the blue flag status. This committee considered the report and actually voted to drop the exclusion. Subsequently, I had meetings with them and a discussion, and it became apparent that if we had the compromise of dogs on leads in that particular area, then we could retain the blue flag status at the time, and that was accepted by members of town council and approved by cabinet. So I think the point I'm trying to make is that we will always look to find a compromise where clearly there's a variance of opinion. Clearly there is strong opposition to the initial proposal. So as you'll see, the recommendations are that for the non-controversial ones, which are in Appendix 2, that we go ahead and approve those, but then there's a number of different options that members consider in Appendix 3. I'm really looking forward to hearing members' opinions of which of those would be most suitable, and then going out for further consultation to try and find something which the majority of people can support, Chair. So diolch.
Yeah, thank you very much, Leader. If I hand over to Matthew, you're going to introduce? I'm not touching nothing.
I'll try this one. There we are. There's not much more I can say, actually. A continuation as we are, but with 2 additional areas, one being an area up in Penmachno that's been requested of us, and another area for a part of by Ross-on-Sea, we requested to protect birds on the rocky area there. So that has gone in as a proposal for the existing PSPO to be extended. We've consulted, as you know, on the area between Arius, Porth Arius and Ross-on-Sea. The results are in Appendix 4. As you can see, a detailed analysis of the responses back, 6,000 responses. A lot of people are very supportive of the need for controls. Roughly 50-50 on the beach areas there, but when it comes specifically to the Roseland Sea Beach, I think it's 54% not keen on that area, and 45 are wanting some controls. So there's some doubt, and obviously we're really looking at compromises, as Charlie says. The whole point of the controls there are to enable responsible and encourage responsible dog ownership. So as we've said in paragraph 2.4, there are various options that exist which may enable the beach area to be successfully used by all. And that's what we're about, really. We want successful use of the beach areas, recognizing that there are dog owners and non-dog owners, and everybody needs to utilize that beach to its fullest extent. So there are many options. So those options would benefit from further public consultation before further member consideration. So that's the recommendation, really, that we go ahead with the existing PSPO, but with those 2 additional areas added in, and then further consultation on the options for that beach. Maybe there's a seasonal one as suggested, or an area or zone, or what have you. There's lots of options. So that does need a bit more consultation before a decision is made.
Okay, yeah, thank you for that. I'll before I open the debate, that's what I read in the report. I think it was an amazing response to the questionnaire and the consultation, and when I was reading it, I just, first thing that came to my mind was compromise, and I think that's what we're about to do here tonight. So I'm happy to open up the floor to debate, and we'll go from there. So at the moment, with committee members, I'll go to Councillor Louise to start, and I'll come to you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. This is actually just a point of order on behalf of Llandudno Town Council. I don't know if the officers could just respond. Is that the Town Council met specifically to consult on the non-controversial changes to the dog protection orders, and the town clerk says they can find no evidence of it within the paperwork tonight, and they had asked a question about the rugby ground. So it's just really query to officers: have you received the Llandudno Town Council response, and if so, why wasn't it in the documentation? Thanks.
Hello, yes, we did receive the response. All town councils were emailed the consultation, as was online, and then a number of people felt it necessary to come back with comments, which then went to the PSPO inbox. So they're considered in the responses that we've considered. I think it was 515 emails we gathered in. As the areas they've requested did not relate specifically to what we were asking for, what we need to do then in what we've done for every new area that's been asked for is the justification in law. So we will now come back to Llandudno Town Council and ask for their justification for what they're requesting, as we have done with all others, in view of transparency. And then, of course, if agreed, it's something else we can consult on publicly.
Okay, so basically they can expect a response. Yes. Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'll bring local member Joe in. Then I've got Gareth, Keith, and Sam online.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm not a member of this committee. I've welcomed this consultation process. However, a more balanced proposal being brought forward at the onset. The residents could have chosen which proposal they preferred, and the decision could have been taken quietly. The proposal of a blanket ban, which no officer has actually admitted to wanting, has only achieved animosity and bad feeling through the dog walking community. Dog owners have felt targeted and unfairly treated, as most dog owners not only pick up after their own dogs, they pick up after other dogs, and they also pick up after litter that's been left by humans. The community have pulled together, returned consultations and emailed in their hundreds. The public have spoken, and now we must listen. The majority want a section of beach in the summer and the whole beach in the winter to walk their dogs on. As far as I can see, option 5 is the fairest, a seasonal dog exclusion zone on a section of beach. Portharius Beach and Rose Harbour Beach will already have permanent bans on them, so this will be a fair compromise. I think this proposal allows dog walkers the space to walk their dogs after stressful days at work, enough space to clear their heads and have some quiet time. is the perfect place to look after their mental health. We need to target those people who break the law. Dogs make huge changes to people's lives, keep them active, give company and comfort. This should be about fairness. And also, where we have no dog signs, we need some dog welcome signs. There needs to be more welcoming for dogs and not so negative. Ross-on-Sea residents can easily access the beach at Ross, and the Colwyn Bay residents can access at the pier. This leaves large section of beach in the summer for those people who don't want dogs playing near them, but allows holidaymakers who have brought their dogs with them to keep the family together during days at the beach. The option allows the entire beach to be used in the winter months by dog walkers. The beach would otherwise be unused for the majority of the time. The options on the table now should have been on the original proposal. The signage must be clear and visible, and no signs must be handed out until the correct signage is up. And I'd like to request that this is a recorded vote, please.
She can't do that. She's not a member, is she? Yeah, I'll just, regarding the recorded vote and your membership of this committee, I think Matt would want to say something on that.
We not actually have a proposition at the moment, so if a proposal wants to move that, once we've got a proposition before us to be voted upon, that then we can, if we've got the requisite number at that stage, we can have a recorded vote.
Yeah, who is a member of this committee? Yeah, okay. I totally get what you're saying, Joe, and you know, fairness comes out of this questionnaire, but also fairness for those. I've had constituents contact me that have children that are petrified of dogs, and you know, my dog could run up to them and I say it's all right, it's friendly, but the child doesn't know that. But absolutely, fairness is what we want. I won't take the stage. So Gareth, Councillor Gareth.
I won't go through and repeat everything that Aaron and Councillor Joe said, because I just like to confirm that I endorse what they say and I agree with the points that they made. But I'd like to say that I'd really appreciated it if we had some more points there with some valid, credible plans to actually make sure that these rules are enforced and that irresponsible dog owners are actually made to comply with the rules through education and fines. And that also extends to irresponsible individuals who throw litter and don't actually respect the beach, because I think that is a major problem. And we just need some credible enforcement proposals and plans. Thank you.
Yeah, again, you're sort of pushing on an open door, Gareth. I was contacted by another resident that said that if you go to Anglesey and look at the signage there, it's like Google Earth photos of the area, and you could easily pick out where you can and where you can't go on that. And I actually have spoken to officers about improving the signage as part of this process if we can go along with that. Keith. Councillor Keith Eales.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry, excuse me. Thank you for the report as well to the team of regulatory services. A very good report, and I'm glad that they've taken the public views on board and put it within the report. As I previously mentioned, I'm a dog walker and I've been contacted by quite a few people. I walk between Abergele, Llandulus and Colwyn Bay, various beaches and areas, and as has been mentioned, responsible dog owners do pick up, and they do tend to pick up as well other dog fouling. I do support in the recommendations that the PSPO is brought in, but also the Appendix 4.4 for further consultation with members of the public to see if there is other ways forward where we can accommodate everyone's views. One of the consideration that wasn't in the report is whether there's a exclusion order between hours of the day as well. So dog walkers like myself tend to be out 7 in the morning before work to go. So if there's an exclusion order between the hours of 10 and 5 p.m, anything like that, bring it in to be seasonal and then open it up in the winter. Just ideas that can be brought forward and considered. I think if this report was written by a dog, yeah, if you can just imagine it now, that humans on the beach, litter is left, glass is left, rubbish. The barbecue seems to be the reoccurring issue on beaches, hot barbecues. I'm aware of a couple whose child stepped on a hot barbecue. And in addition to that as well, another family whose child stepped on a skewer that had been left on a barbecue. So I think there'd be uproar if we excluded people from beaches and allowed dogs on there. I think the percentage of issues, I think dog issues are quite low compared to human sort of related issues on the beach. I am aware that the tide doesn't come in to wash feces away. This is also the case on pavement roads where children also walk and parents walk and sometimes walk through it. So I think it's got to be all things considered in this. So I propose that we adopt option 4.4, which is on page 9? Is that the option to it's a recommendation of the report in paragraph 2.2 to consider options put forward as potential alternatives to permanent dog exclusion for the area of beach between Porthairius, Colwyn Bay and the small sandy beach at Rose as appendix 3, and authorise officers to further publicly consult accordingly. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, so you make that as a proposal. Yep.
Chair, just for clarity, I think that is the recommendations then, isn't it, at 2.1 and 2.2, and the 2.2 is essentially to go out with those options, just to confirm that that's the case.
Yeah. Thank you. So I think the PSPO does need to bring it in for the rest of the areas in the county, but I think there should be further consultation on the beach and any recommendations brought back to this committee for debate.
Yeah, thank you very much. So we have that as a proposal for the, Alan's just coming in a second in that, Alan Hunter. I'll just go through just if I could just go through the running order. Just Sam, you're next, and then I've got Councillor Chris Hughes, I've got Councillor Caffey online, Tom in the room, and Louise. Just to let you all know that I'm aware of the running order. So yeah, can you put your mic on, please?
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, is it your intention to go through all the options in the appendix and take a vote on each one?
It will be my intention to take a vote on the proposals that I put towards us.
Yeah, Chair, and for clarity, I think we've had a proposer and a seconder at this stage for the recommendations at 2.1 and 2.2, which, to be clear, is to agree the extended and varied order as at Appendix 2, and also to consider all of the options as potential alternatives and to consult on those options as at Appendix 3, which is what's been discussed.
Can I go to Councillor Sam online, please?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I just wanted to clarify 2 points in respect of the Colwyn Bay consultation that we're talking about. It's my understanding that the current PSPOs expire on the 21st of October, something like that. So it sounds like we are happy to go ahead and renew the orders in Appendix 2. With respect to Appendix 3 and Colwyn Bay, if we go out to further consultation, is the order to be extended for the period of the consultation, or does it lapse? That's the first question I have, and I'm not hugely familiar with that part of the beach, but currently, I think, is the dog walking area extend as far as the pier, but not beyond the pier. So it's not clear to me from the report whether the area from the second groin to the pier will now be a dog exclusion area, or is that part of the seasonal restrictions also? Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thanks, Sam. I'll ask Matt if you could just clarify for me, please.
Chair, I will ask the officers to come in who've been dealing with the order, but essentially, if the order is extended, then the consultation will be on further variations to an existing order, if that makes sense, because the order would have been extended. So you can then consult on further variations to that order. But I will hand over in terms of the other matters, Chair, if you're happy to hear from officers.
Yeah, I mean, the order is going to be, well, the proposal is to vary and extend the existing order. So the new beach area is not part of that. So it's only the Penmachno and the bit around the corner of Rose Beach, for the rocky bit for the birds. So the bit between the pier and Rose-on-Sea is not covered. So it's as it is now, no change for that area. What was the second part of the question? There was another part of the query, wasn't there?
Councillor Sam, did you get that?
So am I understanding that this is an entirely new order then? So any order that's currently there will lapse, and you will be consulting on an entirely new order?
No, what happens? Sorry, what happens is the order. If you didn't do anything, the order would lapse on the 21st of October. So we're proposing that you create a new order with the two new zones being Penmachno and the Rose-on-Sea beach. Then we're going to consult on what we do with the middle beach there. Once that gets considered public consultation, members will decide what they want to do with that. Any outcome of that, if it is indeed to make a PSPO, that can then be wrapped up with the old PSPO. So we still would have one overall PSPO in due course if indeed members decided to do something with that beach, be it an exclusion or seasonal controls or whatever. It would come in. So we're extending the old order at the moment.
Okay, I'm not entirely sure I understand. Maybe it will become clear throughout the meeting.
Explain it better. We try.
Hello, Councillor Sam.
Hello. Oh, sorry.
As it stands, we're seeking to extend the order, and the area of Colwyn Bay Beach between the promenade wall and the low water mark, Porth Areas to the pier will remain permanent exclusion. And then the small sandy beach at Rose-on-Sea will remain permanent exclusion. That's if we simply extend the order. And we will seek to publicly consult on the area of beach between them 2 points in the coming, if members so agree.
So it's no change.
So no change to as is.
There's currently no order that covers the part of the beach that we're talking about.
Yeah, it doesn't help when you're shouting from the gallery. If you could, we just want to conduct the meeting here and get the information. So
I'm
Sam
sorry.
understands.
I hope it's not just me that doesn't understand, but I'd just like to get some clarity on it because I'm not familiar. I don't walk on that beach, so I'm not familiar with that area. So I get the bit about the sandy beach at Rose, and I get the bit about the pier to Porth Areas. I know it's the bit in between that I'm interested in. So are we suggesting that there's currently no order on that part of the beach, and therefore there's no order to lapse, and this is an entirely new consultation? So when that consultation comes back and we decide upon whatever we're going to decide upon, the order will be from that date.
There's no controls on the new bit of beach at the moment. There's controls on the outer bits of beach, effectively, the Colwyn Bay side by Porth Areas, so that's an exclusion area, Rose as an exclusion area. The bit in the middle, there are no controls.
Okay, then, thank you.
So we're consulting on that. Once we know the outcome of that, then that will be added in, if indeed members decide to put some controls on it, into a PSPO, which will be wrapped into one PSPO for administrative purposes.
Okay, thank you for that, Matt. I've got Councillor Chris Hughes.
I think it's quite clear to me that we can't approve the recommendation that's been put before us today, because if we do, then that will ban dogs from the existing areas of beach, because you're only talking about consulting on the new beach. And I believe this was discussed at the Bay of Colwyn Town Council recently, and the indication there, as I understand it, was that any consultation on Colwyn Bay Beach should cover the whole beach, so that those areas which are currently have seasonal bans could potentially remain seasonal. Because if we go ahead and approve this, the areas that have got seasonal bans at the moment would become permanent bans, and it will only be the area of New Beach that we would be consulting on. That's my interpretation, and was certainly the interpretation that was discussed at the town council recently. That's not right. Can you
just clarify that?
Can you clarify that?
No. What we're doing is the existing PSPO as is, with Penmachno and the bit around the corner on Rose Beach. That's it. The new beach that has been created is not covered, as it says it in the part of the first part of the report there, I think. Agree the extended and varied proposed dog control PSPO at Appendix 2, which excludes the area of beach between Porth Areas, Colwyn Bay, and the small sandy beach at Rose-on-Sea from the proposed order. Excludes that area. That area is not part of what we're bringing in as a proposed PSPO. So that's not controlled.
Chris, can you put your mic on, please?
So what you're saying is the area between that currently has an order on it it
doesn't have an order on it. That's the middle of the beach. It hasn't got any controls on it.
No, I'm talking about the area from Porth Areas to the pier.
Yeah, that will remain.
That will remain
as is.
Yeah.
As a seasonal ban, not a year-round ban.
A permanent.
Yeah, that's the point I'm making. So that's the point I'm making, Chair. Yeah, the current ban from Porth Areas to the pier is a seasonal ban. Yeah, and the current it is.
It's permanent.
No, that's what's proposed. No. But the dogs go on that beach and we put out flags in October. And if you go down and look at the signs on the walls, they say no dogs from the 1st of May through to the 30th of October. The signs on the walls say that. Yeah. There is the orders in place from Porth Areas to the pier is a temporary one. It applies from May to October. I read, I walk along that promenade almost every week, if not every day, until the start of this year when our dog passed away. I'd never lived in a house without a dog, and we've walked our dog on the beach many times, and I will always check the dates to ensure that if I took our dog on the beach, it was but that area of beach has always been temporary. That's why you put flags out on that beach on the 1st of May, and you take those flags away off that beach on the 30th of October.
I think the reason flags
September, sorry.
Which because that's when the beach inspectors are there. They finish work in September. That's why no one's there to put the flags out after that time. I think it's one of the ones we publicly consulted on in 2020, and it became permanent exclusion.
It's on page 21, Chris. Schedule 3, page 21.
Well, in that case, I will still propose that we go out to a consultation on the whole of the beach in Colwyn Bay, because that is the only way that we can reach a compromise to continue with this discussion as it is, and only consult on the central part of the beach is wrong. We should be consulting on the entire Bay of Colwyn beach. and I would propose that, Chair.
What would that do to the order if we then say that we're now going to consult on the whole length from Porphyrius to the sandy bit in Ross-on-Sea? That's what you're suggesting, Chris? To go out to
Absolutely.
consultation on that
That's what
whole area.
We need.
Yeah, okay. It's just a question.
As I suppose with Llandudno Town Council, we would ask for the justification in legislation, and there's nothing to say we can't consult on that area also. The order can be varied at any point in the 3 years.
Okay, so I just in my own mind, I'm looking for clarification that from Porphyrius to the pier is it dogs excluded, or is it
Yeah, that was a permanent dog exclusion because that was a created beach.
Can I just ask the members of the public, please? You know, we've got a debate going on, please.
That's on page 21 of the report, which details that that's a permanent dog exclusion on that beach. That was created as a permanent exclusion because it was a created beach, as a leisure beach, as it were. And that's why members agreed that that was going to be an excluded beach because it was a beach unwashed by the tide.
Okay.
There's nothing to stop you putting that in the consultation and asking if you want to remain it as an excluded beach. That can be opened up. If you wish.
Okay, so I take on board what your proposal is there, Chris.
What I'm saying is to you, the signage, if you changed it in 2020, fine, but in 2017, when the signage that went up, it was a temporary beach. I walked my dog on that beach dozens of times because it said you could walk your dogs on that beach from the 30th of September through to the 1st of May. Yeah. And the signage is still there, has never been replaced. And so if they did introduce a change, I'm certainly not aware of it. And I'm certainly not aware of the signage changing. But in any event, if it was changed, then we shouldn't just stick with that, because if an error has been made, and I think that most residents would consider an error has been made, yeah, then we should consult on whether that error should remain in place or be removed. And therefore, as I said at the beginning, Chair, I will propose that we should be consulting on the whole of the Bay of Colwyn Town Council from the Bay of Colwyn.
I've got Councillor Caffi online.
Thank you, Chair. So this has moved on a bit since I put my hand up. It sounds as though the signage that Councillor Chris Hughes mentioned needs to be reviewed or updated, and we need clarity around that. My points were going to be that beaches unwashed by the tide, I think, should be as recommended in the officer's report, together with the rocky area of bird habitat. And then that recommendation enables broader consultation on everything else. So I don't know if we are speaking to support the one proposal that we have on the table at the moment, but I would certainly support that proposal for the reasons I've just outlined. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Caffi. Yeah. I've got, so at this moment, I have Councillor Tom, Louise, Joe. Joe, just be brief because I've allowed you to speak. You're not a member of the committee. Paul, Luckhook, and Simon, you'll be coming in then. Councillor Tom.
Thank you very much. Yeah, the debate has moved on quite a bit since I put my hand up. So there were 2 points really that I was a bit confused about. The first one is I wanted clarity on enforcement, because the way I see it is these orders are very restrictive of dog owners across the entire authority. In Llandudno, there appears to be only one small patch of open space where a dog can be let off the lead, and I agree entirely with what the objector was saying, that it's important that we have space to allow dogs to run free. So I don't see what we achieve by having these really restrictive orders if we are not going to have an active enforcement policy to make sure that where those orders are in place, they are being followed, because all I see is doing is rolling out really restrictive orders, hoping that it's going to fix the situation, but we're not actually targeting the few irresponsible dog owners we have. You know, 99% of dog owners are responsible and do clean up after the dog and do, you know, care for the dog, make sure it's on the lead at appropriate times. So I don't see the need for really extensive restrictions when actually we could have much more targeted restrictions with proper enforcement. So I'd be really keen to know if officers were looking at coming up with some recommendations for enforcement in 3 years' time, the next time around this comes to us. That was point one. Sorry, Chair. And then point two was about what the officers were mentioning about the justification in law for any variations. Is that something that officers are expecting councillors to come with now, or can we propose a variation to that? No. Okay, right. That's fine. That's what I thought.
It's a set process. I've had a couple of emails where can you also include this area, but there is a process that has to be adhered to put it through the system. The question, the first question, I think the restrictions you talk about have been in place. I think are we only looking at 2 extra areas? So if you like, Appendix 2. No, Appendix 3, we've had in place since 2020. So we've had them in place for 2020. I'll be parochial. I've got Maesderu in Llandudno Junction. That is dogs on the lead on the field, dog ban in the play area, and there's another area where they can be let off. But as I say, so these have been in place for some time.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Yeah, I appreciate they've been in place for some time, but that's why I'd be interested to know what our plan is moving forward with enforcement, because just because they've been in place for a long time doesn't mean they're actually effective at targeting the irresponsible dog owners. So I know there's areas in my ward that have these restrictions, and there are people who are letting their dogs off the lead. So that's what I'm saying, is that instead of just rolling over with repeat blanket bans or areas where dogs have to be on leads, perhaps we should look moving forward to have a proper enforcement plan in place and have more targeted restrictions across the county instead of just blanket orders across nearly every open space in the authority. So I'd be really interested to know what the plan moving forward is in terms of enforcement of these orders. Thank you.
Okay, and now past cabinet member, the leader, Charlie, do you want to just quickly come in on that?
Yeah, I think it's fair to note in the past we had Kingdom who were very, very unpopular. It's actually incredibly expensive to have officers hiding in bushes, jumping out and catching people in the act, so to speak. We are looking at redeploying some CCTV throughout the county, which can maybe help with that. But, you know, I'm not a dog owner. I should maybe declare an interest as a cat owner. But my observation is the vast majority of people are A, very responsible, and B, will obey the signage. I take Chris's point that the signage isn't correct. Well, that's not good. But I think there is a worth to them. I think people do respect that we need spaces for everybody. So yeah, you know, actually policing it, catching people in the act is a very, very expensive procedure. So we have to rely on education a lot. There will always be people who don't obey the rules, but I think it is still sensible and proportionate that we have different areas of different legislation. And not everyone will agree with it, but it's trying to find that compromise, isn't it? Something that works for everybody too.
Okay, thank you. And there's also the scheme where we gather intelligence to where you get the postcard that we can send out if we've got a problem. Because I have sent that round with letters to residents. So if you see someone dog fouling, if you could report it, and then we can target it then, like with intelligence led targeting. Okay, I have got a list. So I've got Councillor Louise next.
Okay, so just to sort of clarify this, because it is confusing, all of this. So it was Councillor Keith that was going to go for 4.4 as a proposal, which has been seconded, I think. And yeah.
Yeah, I think in light of the discussion over the Colwyn Bay Beach and the restrictions on Colwyn Bay Beach, I think we should open up and attach the area that is from Porthareas to the east of the pier, to actually include that as part of the consultation area, I think, rather than leaving that as a as as previous exclusion. I think just in case we have to compromise one with the other, I think it'd be prudent to attach that to the area that is going to go to public consultation in case one is sacrificed for the other or something, if it can be done on the PSPO.
Okay, I'm just noting that the seconder to that proposal is agreeing to that. I've got an officer wants to come in, Louise. Yeah, of course. Come.
Can I just clarify the point that is in terms of recommendation part 2, that the consultation on that issue is consulted upon as part of that consultation. This is not that. This is that the order as proposed is extended as proposed, but then there will be consultation on that additional issue as well as the matters that have been proposed to be consulted on in the report. Is that correct?
No, because it doesn't. A consultation doesn't exclude the section of beach between the pier and Porthairius. Is that correct? The only excluded zone is from the pier up to Ross-on-Sea, because the section between Porthairius and the pier looks like it's part and parcel of the report to carry through. I think it's only the new beach at Ross-on-Sea that's excluded.
Can I just bring Liam? Can you just put the mic on, please? It's all right, I forget all the time.
The area of beach that is subject to permanent exclusion did go out to public consultation twice in 2020.
What we've got here is the order, which I think head of legal is talking about. The order is looking to be extended and varied. That is proposed to be taken forward and made, and we can obviously consult on it, and that could then change after. If you don't make the order now, the whole thing will fall.
Chair, that was the point that I was trying to get across. Is the proposal that we make the order as proposed, but then consult on the additional matters, which can then be amended in response to the consultation. That's what I was trying to seek clarity on. That's how I'd understood it. But
yeah, I didn't want to retract the order as a whole. I think that does need to go through, but what I just want to make sure that we can still consult and make a decision on the section of beach in Colwyn Bay that has at the moment got a permanent exclusion.
I think we're getting nods off the officers there,
Yeah,
so that'd be part of the recommendations. So I'd be happy with that. Louise, you want to come back? Sorry, well, you or finish, I should say.
Yeah, okay, so obviously the debate's moving on, because I was going to say, well, it looks like option 5 is what's wanted by the public and local members, and in the consultation, the 4.4, they do that. But now Chris has blown our minds with that we actually want to look at the bit which is supposedly dog exclusion. And forgive me, because I haven't got a dog and I don't download it, but I'm looking on the public website and it does say from the pier to a point just past the launching for Powercraft, it says 1st of May to 30th of September, no dogs. That's on the public website as we speak now. So there's obviously confusion with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've just heard there now from the proposal and the seconder that we can include that and clear it up. If there's been a mistake, if there's been an error, hold our hands up and we go back out to consult with members of the public. I've got Joe.
Thank you for letting me speak again. Thank you, Chris, for bringing up Porthairius. Also, can I just confirm, having a dog and possibly going to head down to the beach, once the proposals run out, we will have the full stretch of beach while these proposals are considered?
Do you want it? Yeah.
Yeah, between the existing controls, so between the pier and the small sandy beach in Ross-on-Sea.
And also, I think you can all see how confusing this has been for residents and tourists. The signs have been wrong since 2020 and nobody has a clue where they can go. So let's it needs sorting. Thank you.
I take exception. I know where I can go, but I'll be honest with you, I'm usually governed by where I can park my car and not have to pay. But perhaps I'm a bit tight. Councillor Paul.
Well, I think like everybody else, I'm feeling pretty uncomfortable. Thank you for letting me speak. I'm not a member of the committee. This appears to me to be a complete mess. I don't think you can describe it any other way. And I think we need to tonight just clarify what it is we need to do tonight, which we can all reach a consensus on. And then I think officers need to go away, do more work on this. I think it actually has to come back. And I think there has to be a much better presentation of the options. And I would say we've got the big screens. We could use the big screens as part of that process so that this confusion and mess doesn't happen. But I accept what the head of legal is saying. We need to do the task, which I think there's a consensus on tonight, that ensures the things that there isn't a disagreement about can go ahead with the order, but it's got to come back in a form that is much less confused than the present situation.
Okay, I'm going to disagree with you, Paul. I think for me, the confusion, we've heard the confusion there regarding porphyrius to the pier. I think that's been addressed in a proposal and has been seconded. So that'll go out to consultation. So I think that would address some of the confusion that I'm picking up on. So that seems to be the issue, and I think everything else seems, you know, that could just fall in place. You know, I don't want any parts of my ward which I've scrutinised to be in jeopardy of not getting through. But as I say, I think the propose and the recommend on the proposal, I should say, with the seconder, I think we'll address that. I just want to quickly move on. I've got Simon and Bernice. I do apologise. I'll come back to you. So Simon.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yes, I've got a few questions on this. I am looking at the existing PSPO 2023 and the 2020, and in the year-round prohibition section, it says section R, this is page 76, and page 21 on the old order. It says Colwyn Bay Beach between Porthaeris and Colwyn Bay Pier is permanently year-round prohibition. So that sounds like there's been a real mistake there. And certainly the members of the public seem to understand that there is access to that in the winter, judging by the number of people using it. The other question I've got is, if I'm against adopting this PSPO, I believe we should also remove the section that says all dogs have to be on leads during the summer on all beaches, and that's on page 80 of the new proposed order and page 26 of the old 2020 order, because I think that's material to it. Perhaps we should consult on it, or we should just remove it, because all of these this proposed regulation is based on the amount of dog fouling on the streets. I don't know, do we have any data on fouling on the actual beaches? That's the question I would like. It's not been brought to the committee in any of the statistics in the papers I can see. And the other question I have is, and I apologize if this has been already sorted before, there was a question of lead length on the question of dogs on lead. And we did have back in the past, old ladies being prosecuted because they had an extending lead, and people who had just had a 2-meter lead were fine. And I'm strongly against the extending lead prohibition. I think it should be dogs on a lead with no qualification. Thank you, Chair.
Could I get a response for Councillor Simon on that, please?
I think
do you mean, sorry, what page for dogs on leads on all beaches? Do you mean dogs on leads by direction?
on page
Microphone again. Yeah. Page 80 is the dogs on leads on beaches during the summer months on all beaches. including Pensarn.
Page 80 says all beaches seasonally between 1st of May and the 30th of September.
Yeah, even where dogs are permitted, that would, I see that would mean people had to have them on leads on any beach, even if they were permitted during the summer.
As shown below.
No, and it says including below.
Shown in purple on plan 4. We've detailed where.
I believe that purple plan refers to the extra one that's added on for some reason.
Located where the dogs need to be on leads and are in purple, and the dogs need to be on leads to show some to be in general control on beach areas. That's what that's for. We've had blind people. We had a request a while back for that to be put in on an area. That was what one particular zone was included for. What are the other parts of your question? Sorry, I forget what.
Well, I'm questioning whether that sentence there actually could be read as including all beaches during the summer months, even when dogs are permitted.
All beaches seasonally between 1st of May and 30th of September to include the seashore and foreshore as per W below and as shown in purple on plan 4.
So that's a specific area, Kimnall Bay.
Specifically relates to W below.
So it just applies to Kimnall Bay, basically.
Yeah, specific. It's not.
This is just Kimnall Bay.
Okay, can we just get
Thank
some
you.
Okay, so you got the clarification. Charlie,
the
did
dog-
you want to just clarify that?
Just to clarify, that
Yeah.
was introduced in Kimnall Bay as a compromise because it allowed people to use the beach but still retain the blue flag. Now, Kimnall Bay Town Council may want to come back at a later date and say, actually, we'd like to have our dogs free on the beach without leads. These things aren't set in stone. It's a process. So, but that in this case, it specifically refers to Kimnall Bay, which was a compromise, actually removing the ban, going halfway to allowing dogs with leads, but there'll be nothing to stop in the future a request for that to change completely. It doesn't have to wait 3 years again. No, it could come forward as another point. We can change this whenever they last for 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Simon,
Yep. And the lead length?
lead length.
Yeah, I mean I think there's some. Yeah, there's something in the dog. What was it? The dog pet thingy.
Welfare.
Dog welfare. The 2 meters is what's recommended.
Could you speak into the
Oh,
mic?
sorry.
Madam? Thank you.
There is I forget what it's called, Leanne, isn't it?
The animal welfare.
Yeah, there's an animal welfare guidance or something. We can't think of the name now, but the 2 meters is what's recommended as the lead length for welfare. And I think that's what's specified. If a dog is more than 2 meters away, it's felt in some welfare guidance that you perhaps can't have quite tight control over that dog. That's what we've read in the guidance there. But that's what it says. So yeah, dog on a lead. If it's on a lead and it's under control, we're happy.
Bernice and then Alan.
For this debate, I did quite a lot of research, particularly a variety of aspects of this order and its effects on the area and residents. The main issues, as I see them, are the environment, freedom of access, the economic impact in Ross-on-Sea in particular, and my personal favourite is health and well-being. I've been around and spoken to residents, both locally and in Ross-on-Sea, and there are many elderly residents who walk their dogs there. They walk there because it's flat, because they can get there. From a safety perspective, if we sent them elsewhere, they may not get somewhere flat and safe, and certainly would not want The majority of dog walkers do it in the morning and afternoon. As the nights are drawing in, they certainly don't want to go out. Reactive depression is one of the largest problems, a major problem, often unseen and unnoticed in older people. This is because their social circle diminishes due to loss of family, loss of loved ones, and being far from their families. These have pets, particularly dogs, some of them cats, and they benefit from these companions. They incentivize the elderly resident to get exercise, but also to interact and socialize with others. I will use the story of one elderly gentleman who I've spoken to, who is in his 80s, can no longer have an animal because he doesn't think it's fair, and there are other reasons. His closest friend has gone into a care home, some distance away from him, not far from me, but that's it. He goes to the prom in Ross-on-Sea each day at 7:45. You can go and meet him if you want, to watch the dogs exercise. And he always sees the dogs on the way off the beach and gives them treats. He chats to their owners, and on some days, that's his only interaction. He feels he has something to look forward to get up for. It is free, and he feels part of the local community. And I think some of these dog bans will block that. Don't get me wrong, I don't think they should be allowed in play areas, and we should have some restrictions, but not that stretch of beach. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Councillor Bernice. I don't have any other speakers on this matter. Oh, sorry, I have one more speaker on this, Councillor Allen.
It's okay. It's just a quick one, really, on the subject of extender leads. I certainly don't like extender leads. I've got a dog myself. I don't even like 2-meter leads. The amount of times when I've been driving and people are walking along with the dogs on extenders at the side of the road, the dog just walks off into the road. You have no control when you're on extended leads. Extended leads are ideal in open spaces, but no, I think a 1-meter lead is long enough when you're at the side of the road. I've had to brake for dogs before now, because their owners just chatting away, admiring the scene. The dog wanders off on an extended lead. So sorry, couldn't go with that.
Okay, so I think I'll just bring in Matthew again, and then I'm going to ask the legal officers to just clarify what the proposals are and what we're voting on, and I hope then members in the public gallery will be clear when you're going home that, you know, 1, you've been listened to, 2, you know what the next it won't be a question now, it's going to be the what we're going out on the, just lost it. So basic consultation. I do apologize, a bit of brain fog there or whatever. I'll just bring in Matthew, just to.
Since you've been talking, I've been just looking at the rules for leads, dogs on leads, and basically the highway code says that dogs should be kept on a short lead along roads and on paths shared with horse riders and cyclists. That's rule 56. So a short lead because of the road safety issues. And it's the other one is the Highways and Countryside Act, which suggests 2 meters is the length of a dog lead that it should be. I think the issue is with a very long extendable leads, where you get, meters and meters and meters, the dogs can get wrapped up around things and cause problems. It's fine if you've got the dog under control and it's a big wide open space, of course, but we're in a crowded area, they can cause issues. It's just basically people being responsible, I think, is the key to it all.
Thank you for that. So if I could, too many mats. Too many. If you could just clarify with what proposals we've had.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I suppose it's just to make sure that we are voting on the right proposition. So my understanding, Chair, is it's the proposition at 2.1, which is to agree the extended and varied proposed dog control PSPO order as at Appendix 2. But in terms of the consultation, to extend the consultation to the whole of Colwyn Bay Beach. That's my understanding, so that we consult on the whole of Colwyn Bay Beach and the options in terms of whether that's a permanent exclusion order or any of the other options. That's my understanding. Can I just confirm the proposer and the second is happy with that?
So that was council.
And then just
Yes.
so what happens? So we're going to go back out to consultation from Porth areas all the way to Rose. And so what happens? Remember earlier with Sam, as we go towards this date in October, where the rules finish on that bit of beach. So while we're consulting on that, what happens?
Chair, the rules wouldn't finish. It would be extended as proposed. The small part of beach that has been excluded would obviously remain excluded because it wasn't in the previous orders. It's been excluded since consultation. That's the part between Porth Erias, Colwyn and Colwyn Bay. That has been removed, so there will be no order in respect of that new area. So it will be confirmed. It will be confirmed and extended in respect of all the areas apart from that area, but the consultation will go further than to consult on just the area between Porth Erias and the small sandy beach at Ross-on-Sea. And in that consultation will then be to seek public views on all of the Colwyn Bay Beach.
Can you put your mic on, Chris?
I think Matt's got that wrong. The existing order is from Porth Erias to the pier. Yeah. And my understanding is during the consultation that would remain in place. Yeah. The area where there is no order is from the pier through to effectively the Roast breakwater. Yeah. And that so what you're saying is that area, people will still be able to walk their dogs from Roast to the pier. But they won't be allowed to walk their dogs on the Porth area from Porth Erias to the pier until the consultation has been concluded and we reconsider it. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
at least we know where we stand now.
Yeah, I'd hope that's what was being proposed and seconded. But let's just be sure. Are we both comfortable with that? Yeah.
Okay.
Can I ask that as from the 1st of October, that area of beach is still open to members of the public?
My understanding is that it can't be under the order. Now, signage we take on board. If there's an issue with the signage, we take that on board. Aaron, I'm sorry you can't come in. There's a protocol. Okay. Aaron, I understand, but I'm going to come to the vote. So I'll let Simon come in now, lastly, and then I'm going to go to the vote.
Thank you, Chair. I think it's pretty clear from the feelings of the public and the consultation that we've already had what the public's feelings are on this matter. And I would make an alternative proposal that the whole of the Colwyn Bay Beach be only closed during the summer months to dog walkers, and the rest of the time it will be open. That's including the section from Porth Erias to the pier and all the way up to the Ross-on-Sea section.
So that will be in the consultation.
I don't think we need to consult. We've already got a clear answer from the public.
We can't.
Chair, we have a proposition and a seconder, so we need to take the vote on that. Now, if that's lost, an alternative proposition could be put forward.
Sorry.
Chair, you've asked on a number of occasions for members of the public to not keep interjecting during the debate, Chair. Now that has then happened again, despite that warning. Now, if that continues to happen, Chair, it is open to you to adjourn the meeting so that we clear that disturbance.
Okay, I'm at this moment. I think we're virtually there. It has been. It's a really. I'm sorry. I'm taking no more speakers now. I think we go to the vote. We've had a proposal. We've had a seconder, and I think it's fairly clear, and to members of the public, that the consultation will include from Porphyrius right the way to the breakwater, the sandy section in Rows-on-Sea, and I think that's a reasonable outcome from tonight's meeting. So that's what I'd like to see a vote on now. So if we could, I do appreciate members of the public coming here. I really do, and I think this will be a good response from the questionnaire. So basically, we have the proposal, we have a seconder. Can I ask all those in favour? Okay. All those against? Any against? Have none. And any abstentions? Have one abstention. So that's been carried. So just for the members of the public again, thank you very much. What will happen now? This will go to cabinet on Thursday. So what's going to happen is the whole section of Colwyn Bay, including Rows-on-Sea, will be up to a consultation. You've said, we've listened, and we've acted. So thank you. If you want to stay here and listen to the next debate on 106 monies from Conway County Borough Council, you're more than welcome. But thank you very much. I'll give a couple of minutes just to clear the room. Thank you.
Just clarify for all members of the public that they are allowed to use speech.
And just before you go, yes, you can. Apart from from the pier to Rows-on-Sea, I'll probably see you there in the next couple of days because Honey will be there with me.
Point of order, Chair. Will there need to be a vote, therefore, on the new schedule for 2023 PSPO, excluding the piece which we've got sent for consultation?
Yeah. Okay, everyone. Okay, thanks for that. That one was, it was always going to be a difficult topic, wasn't it? Thank you very much, even though I missed you out. So if we go to the next item, which is the Section 106 monitoring report, Councillor Chris Cater, Cabinet Member for Regulatory and Housing, I believe you're going to introduce that and hand it over to your officers.
I'm not actually a member of the Cabinet Member for Regulatory and Housing, but I've taken over the planning and strategic.
Is it interim?
No, it's interim planning and strategic planning.
Okay, thank you.
So, but never mind.
You're a good vet, Chris.
And can I send my congratulations to Councillor Cathy for being Vice Chair? Councillor Cathy is Vice Chair of quite a few committees now. Anyway, here we are on page 155, the Section 106 monitoring report. A revised protocol for these Section 106 legal agreement for planning obligations, which, as you know, involve both on-site and off-site commuted sums, will go on to be considered by full council on Thursday, and the protocol has actually been worked on by the Democratic Services Working Group and has been considered by that full committee. What's in front of you tonight is the latest Section 106 monitoring report, and members should note it is accompanied by a spreadsheet showing the latest available Section 106 balances. These will be published on our website for complete openness and clarity, and an update will occur quarterly. If I could just ask the committee to add a recommendation to full council on Thursday, please, because there is a bit of discrepancy here, and we want the Section 106 protocol that's going to full council on Thursday to be amended so that it includes a more detailed breakdown of available Section 106 balances, which will be published quarterly. So that's not in your recommendation in the pack. So if I could ask your indulgence and ask if this committee can add that recommendation to full council. If that's not clear, I'm sure Matt will put it in a different, perhaps a different way, but we just want an extra part put on the recommendation that ensures full council on Thursday will have in the protocol that the breakdown happens every quarter. We get an update on the Section 106 balances. Thank you.
Yeah, Chair, if it helps, the draft protocol essentially refers to a different type of reporting period or reporting basis. So I think it's just a matter of if the committee are minded to recommend the recommendations as they are, but to add to the last recommendation, and that council amend the draft Section 106 spending protocol accordingly and adopt that protocol as amended. I think that wording would deal with that issue.
Okay, is it Richard?
Right. Thank you very much, Chair. So I'll yes, sorry for any confusion about the recommendation on this. It just happens that both of these documents have been going through the democratic process for a while, and they happen to be concluding in the same week. And there was, through consultation with the head of finance, suggested that the balances would be best updated quarterly. So it makes sense to update the protocol to reflect that as well. So I'll just very quickly run through the what you've got in front of you today, the two parts to it, the monitoring report and the Section 106 balances. So the monitoring report is a document that's produced every year to show the Section 106 money that is received from developers. It shows the money that is spent on a range of different projects, and the money that's committed for projects but not yet spent, and also the balances, the available balances at the end of each year. And there are also details of the Section 106 money, the Section 106 agreements that were signed during the course of the year. And in the last financial year, there were 21 Section 106 agreements which controlled 150 affordable dwellings and up to about £500,000 worth of commuted sums, which which should come forward over the next few years as those developments take place. So the figures are in the report. I'm happy to go into that in any more detail if members would like, but hopefully it's fairly self-explanatory.
Yeah, I'm quite happy to. It's all in the report. I'm quite happy to open up the debate if anybody. Councillor Louise.
Just understanding the different tables and querying the remaining balances. Obviously, and perhaps I'm just being a bit of a simpleton here, but we've got sort of 2.5 million. This is on page 165. We've got 2.5 million available balance excluding commitments. So that's sort of 2.5 million pounds worth of cash that is sitting with us ready to spend, or is coming at certain times as when the development is finished. That's my first question.
That is the available balance that we've received. So, yes.
Obviously, first of all, I'm thinking spend some of this money, nearly £1 million on highways. 400,000 affordable housing. Obviously, it depends whereabouts it is, but when they're little amounts, it's probably quite hard to find something to do with them. But nearly £1 million for highways. I presume you've got ERF officers clamouring to get their hands on that.
Yeah, about £500,000 of that is for one project in particular in Abigail. So that there are some large sums as part of this that are each of these amounts as they're broken down in the balances have been collected for a range of different things. So it's not necessarily as simple as that table makes out when they're categorized like that, because they can be collected for different specific projects.
Okay, and I suppose the good thing to read is there are no funds at risk of going back to the developers because we've not spent the money, and that is absolutely key, because that I know is always a risk. Thank you.
Yeah, I would not be happy to give it back, to be honest with you, and I know that's monitored really closely. Yeah, okay. I've got nobody online. Okay, Simon.
Yeah, just wonder what is the probably a daft question, but the 106 money, is that as a percentage of capital spent on a project? How does it actually arise? It sounds to me like there should be a little bit more.
Can you what? Sorry, I didn't catch it, Simon. Sorry.
This is a percentage of a housing development price or something. It sounds to me, it looks like we're talking in pounds on one of those tables. I think we should be charging more if we're able to.
The actual contribution that comes from particular developments is each of the categories. The amount that we request is worked out in a different way. There are some things like say open space or libraries where we work out based on the number of dwellings and how much we would ask from a developer based on that. But with things like open space on larger developments, we ask for more of the open space on site, so we don't receive as much of a financial contribution. But some of the other amounts, like highways, for example, that really depends on what the specific highways issues are on that scheme in that location. If there are no traffic issues whatsoever and there's no highway improvements needed, then we wouldn't need to ask for any highways money. So, and all of the way that we work out some of the contributions, they're all set out in our supplementary planning guidance, so with the method of calculation and what the thresholds are for requesting money and all that sort of thing.
I can quickly bring Councillor Charlie, the leader.
Richard's pretty much, it's not a charge per se. It's if a particular development puts a certain pressure, say on primary school places, then you can quantify what that cost is. And then if it was 50k to build a new classroom, let's just say, then they would contribute that. Although there are rules around affordability, but so as Richard said, for every development, it's about what you have to do to try and qualify any impact that it has, essentially. So it differs from one to the next.
Councillor Caffi online.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yeah, I just wanted to pick up the question about transparency, because obviously the recommendation is that we share this information and that it's transparent to our residents and constituents. But there was a question about the amounts. On page 165, we've got the department, the committed expenditure, the available balance, but we've just been told that actually highways don't have $1 million because there's a project somewhere that has been committed to. So is that table misleading slightly? Or do we need another column? You know, one lot of expenditure is committed and one is ring fenced for something, perhaps.
No, I don't think it's misleading, because that's the money is available to be spent on that project. So it's like the library's money. Some of that library's money, for example, will have been collected for libraries for Colwyn Bay Library. So it's available to spend, but it can only be spent in line with the criteria in the Section 106 agreement that sets out what it can be used for.
Sure, but that isn't, well, it says available. I suppose it depends on your interpretation of available. That was the point I was making, that's all.
I think because there's criteria in virtually all of the Section 106 agreements, so they're limited on how they can be spent. So yeah, you're right to they will vary on how broadly they could be spent, and it's not easy to get that into a simple table. But it's I suppose it's more in a financial sense. The committed projects have received authorization, and they've been narrowed down to more of a specific project, whereas the available balances, even though they might have been collected for a particular project, that's not underway or on the immediate horizon, so they're still available in that sense.
Thank you, Richard. Thanks.
So I have no other speakers. So if we look at where are we? If we go to page 156, you've got recommendations in paragraph 2.1, 2.2, with the inclusion of the sentence. Would I put sentence?
Well, Chair, yeah, if somebody wants to propose that, it was a suggestion. It's merely a suggestion.
I think, yep, sorry, who's?
I'll propose it if you need a proposal.
It always helps, Benny, so thank you very much. So we've had, and Tom seconding. All those in favour? I will ask if there's anybody against, any abstentions, and I think that was unanimous. So thank you very much. We were due to finish 7:25, so if you want to sit around and have a chat for 20 minutes, it's entirely up to you. But just say it wasn't an easy meeting, but thank you very much, everyone, and I think we got there in the end. Thank you, and have a safe journey home.